In today's world, we are increasingly dependent on technology. Our business and personal lives rely on it, but as you've probably noticed, it's unreliable. Our computers are slow, so we end up squinting at smartphones and tablets. The jokers we pay to fix our stuff have no clue what they're doing. We live in constant fear that something's going to happen to our personal data. So we're scared into paying for fake protection that proves useless when disaster strikes. Update attacks, fake Wi-Fi, cloud control, intelligent, successful people feel intimidated by the chaos and think it's somehow their fault. If they only knew what the industry was doing to them, they'd get torches and pitchforks. If only we had someone to explain it all in plain English so we can start protecting ourselves. Oh wait, we do! It's the Computer Exorcist Podcast with your host, Mark Anthony Arena.
From the Wallace Memorial microphone in my home office, back in the hills of Weston, New York, this is the Computer Exorcist Podcast. My name is Mark Anthony Arena. So glad you have joined me today. It's April 2026, and we are blazing through the articles. Just want to make one comment on current events. The astronauts, for whatever reason, they were infected with Microsoft Outlook, which is a program that complicates itself and destroys itself every day. And for some reason, once in a while, it allows you to read email. And for some reason, someone attacked them with Outlook and made them use Outlook as their email program. And apparently they were checking their email in space because you can't even get away from email up there. Anyway, and they were having Outlook issues because everyone who uses Outlook has issues every day. So the point is, unfortunately, organizations still think Microsoft Outlook is an acceptable product when it is anything but. So that's kind of funny. Someone thought that Outlook was acceptable, and they made the astronauts use it, and of course it didn't work. There is an alternative called Thunderbird. It looks the same, but it's invincible to threats and doesn't destroy itself as often. It rarely destroys itself because it's an actual functioning product. So if you're an organization and you have some dude running your IT department who's from 1991 and they tell you to use Outlook, then tell them, no, we prefer Thunderbird because we don't like self-destruction. Okay, we're going to dive into some articles blazing through here. These are from April 2022, all of them, so here we go. NewYorkPost.com. Apple and Facebook fell for a scam and gave their user data away to hackers. Oh boy. Apple and Facebook fell for an email scam and turned over some user data to phony law enforcement officials. Cybercriminals who use hacked domains belonging to multiple law enforcement agencies made bogus emergency requests for certain information. The companies handed over basic data like phone numbers, home addresses, and so on. Emergency requests can be made without a court order or a subpoena in the case of an imminent threat. Get this, minors in the US and UK are believed to be behind at least some of these requests, at times even using signatures of real law enforcement agents. We block known compromised accounts from making requests. All right, nice job, guys. Again, that is the reactionary mentality of my industry. We block things after they were a problem, right? Instead of simply blocking things to begin with or determining if something is legitimate to begin with. No, it's, oh yeah, we'll block it after it violates us, right? So that's like, don't have any doors in your house. But if a guy comes to rob you, then just don't let him in again, right? That's the mentality of my industry, so that's what they did here. Both companies outline the amount of emergency requests that they receive and fulfill. Apple received 1,283 requests between July and December of 20. 1,162. And Facebook, Meta, said the company received 211,000 requests from January to June of 21. So like in a half a year, they do get a lot of requests. But look, just like any scam, they are trying to give you a sense of urgency. I need this right away. It's an immediate request. Oh, okay. Right? Just like the scary pop-ups on your screen. Warning, warning, you have viruses. You have to act now. Right? That panic causes us to do stupid things. It means our subconscious takes over. So the scammers used that simple tactic to take advantage of Apple and Facebook themselves. So that's pretty wild. Okay, another one here. This was a phishing email that came to me. So a couple of years ago, I tried to do ads on Facebook for my training program. And it's tough, right? Because I'm something different and new. And when you're on Facebook, people are hecklers. They are mean. They are critical. And, oh, you're a scammer, right? So it didn't really work that well. But here I am trying to propose my legitimate training program. And they just, oh, you're just like the rest of those scammers. So I didn't end up continuing the ads on Facebook, but I did the moment I put out ads on Facebook. The moment I put out ads, somehow the bad guys got a hold of my email address. I don't know how they got it through my Facebook account or whatever, but I think they went to my company website more likely because my Facebook doesn't use my business email. So the moment I put up ads, these scammers went to my website and they grabbed my email address and they immediately started spamming me relentlessly. All of them. And so this is from subject Facebook management, from Facebook team. But the email address is messagingservice@post.0.com. So they hijacked some other company to spam me, so they got away with it. And it says, Facebook, dear comma, no name, a copyright violation has been detected in your post and your account. And the first one, look, when I first got the first one, I did panic. Because I'm like, oh boy, leave it to Facebook, right? Leave it to Facebook to try to criticize you and crush you in a court where you have no recourse. And actually, that happened to me yesterday. So there's my business phone company. It's a business phone. And unfortunately, some clients try to text me thinking I'm just a loser in a car with a cell phone. So my business phone company does offer texting services, but you have to apply and beg for permission. And every time you apply, you have to pay $18. And there's this evil company that does it. And it's called something registration. And they reject you every time. So you just keep paying them $18 to be rejected. But anyway, the point is, this industry is full of evil, filthy organizations that try to trap you. Anyway, so I panicked at first, thinking Facebook was trying to trap me. But then I looked closely at the email, and I saw that it wasn't from Facebook at all, and it said dear comma, and it says a copyright violation. And it says if you think copyright infringement is wrong, that's hysterical. There's no the. It's just if you think copyright infringement is wrong in general, you should provide feedback. Otherwise, your whole account will be closed in 24 hours. And then they give a link. And the link, it says facebook.com/a bunch of random numbers. So there, again, you think it's Facebook. When you click on it, though, it's just the evil scammer's Facebook page. Isn't that crazy? That's evil genius, right? It's not an external link. It's a link that says facebook.com/a bunch of random numbers. So you go there thinking it's Facebook, but really it's an evil scammer's Facebook page. So they can put whatever they want on there. And of course, they will ask you for your name and password, and they'll ask for all your private information, and you think you're giving it to Facebook. Because these evil companies are so obsessed with collecting our information, you think it's normal. Right, that company I was dealing with yesterday, whenever I tried to log in, I had to give them my name and address 80 times, and it's just a matter of course. So you just think, oh, well, it's just a matter of course. And in that case, you don't realize you're giving your info to scammers, okay? Hope that makes sense. Okay, the next one is TheVerge.com. The era of fixing your own phone has nearly arrived. When I called up iFixit CEO Kyle Wiens, I figured he'd be celebrating. After years of fighting for right to repair, big-name companies like Google and Samsung have suddenly agreed. to provide spare parts for their phones. Not only that, but they signed deals with him to sell those parts through iFixit, alongside the company's repair guides and tools. All right, and by the way, iFixit, I've told you this before, I knew them back when they were little. I worked at a company, we were both little at the time, we were frenemies, right? We were supposed to be competitors, but we were actually friends with them, and we would help each other out. And I'm so proud of them because they grew thanks to user-generated content. They grew by, instead of controlling all their content and creating all the content themselves, they allowed professional repair people to submit their own repair guides. So they harnessed the willingness, the energy of the users, right? That's user-generated content. You let the users make up the content of your site. And also, it's such a beautiful win-win because professional repair people will teach other people on iFixit how to repair these products instead of throwing them in the garbage, which this industry loves telling you to do. But Wiens says he's not done making deals yet. There are more coming, he said. And Motorola was actually the first to sign on years ago, and if Apple meaningfully joins them in offering spare parts to consumers like it promised to do, then the era of fixing your own phone may have well and truly come. What changed? Weren't these companies fighting tooth and nail to keep right to repair off the table? Sometimes sneakily stopping bills at the last minute? Sure. But the thing that's changing the game more than anything else is the French repairability scorecard. The French law requires tech companies to reveal how repairable their phones are on a scale of 0 to 10. All right? So, and I say this at the end of my next book. I emphasize this, that laws can never help anything, and these pea-brains at these companies will always fight against laws. However, public humiliation is the way to go. Okay? When Samsung commissioned a study to check whether the French repairability scores were meaningful, it didn't just find it handy, it found a staggering 80% of respondents would be willing to give up their favorite brand in favor of a product that scored higher, that was more repairable. All right? So that's a huge thing here. Laws will never help you against Silicon Valley because they are zombies who act on whims, and they try to fight laws, and you can't just tell them no. Okay, you have to give them a distraction and say, look, people won't like you because they're all insecure people. You have to say people won't like you unless you actually make repairable products. And that's what I've set out to do. I have never, if you notice, I have never called for laws and reforms because it just complicates things. All right, so instead, I am here to expose my industry and publicly humiliate them because that is the only way things will actually change. If you just make laws, it complicates things, and they will always find a way around it. None of the big ones had particularly good repair programs, and now they're all announcing them. How convenient. An era where your aging good enough phone can stay good enough for far longer than otherwise thought. There are lots of ways for companies to screw around, like charging too much for parts or throwing up scary warnings, right? And by the way, companies will always damage your products with update attacks, right? So these companies will always send update attack torpedoes to destroy your phone, right? They'll always try that. Anyway, and of course they'll continue to entice you to rapidly upgrade to new phones, like how carriers went back to the subsidy model last year, right? Where they say the phone is on us, or the phone is $0. Notice how they can't say free, because it's not free. It's included in the monthly fee that you pay. All right, so what I do is I always do the secret plans. Like I have secret $15 plan with T-Mobile. And yeah, it doesn't come with a new phone every 2 years because there's no subsidy in there for it, right? It's just people give me phones all the time. And again, once you turn off update attacks, the phone works fine for a very long time. So I pay $15 a month. All right. And it sounds like when my iPhone mini's battery expires, I'll be able to swap the battery myself. And if not, I might take a hint and switch to a newly repairable Pixel. So what they're saying is Google Pixel phones are a little bit more repairable. All right. So, and look, the other hugely important thing is awareness, right? regardless of whether or not the phone is physically repairable, 99% of people aren't even aware that it's possible to repair these things. All right, well, I broke my thing, so I bought a new one. Well, why don't you have it fixed? Go to the dude at the mall. I'm actually pleasantly surprised that most malls have dudes who are actually really talented with repairing phones. I won't do them. You have to melt the glue, and it's extremely small, and these little tiny ribbon cables and parts. And so, look, folks, if you have a problem, just repair your phone. If you protect it from update attacks and repair it with a nice independent repair guy, then you can keep it for a very long time, okay? Okay, halfway point here. A couple more and we'll be out of here. All right, I got a couple pieces of fan mail if you're ready for that. This was from listener Stephanie. She says, "Hi Mark, at one point I believe you'd mentioned internet service. I'm considering getting rid of Comcast Xfinity and switching to Fidium Fiber. Most reviews seem good, however, when reading about the mesh and megabits, I'm still in the dark as this is not my forte," right? And that's what they want. They have 50 megabit, 250 megabit, and 1 gigabit, which is 1,000 megabit. It's only me in a small ranch, and I don't do gaming, but occasionally I work from home. So I need typical internet access, and I'll be doing some streaming. All right, look. Here's what I say. Mesh is a scam where they convince you to spend $700 for a pile of routers that report all of your behavior back to the factory. All right, so the only router on earth you need is from TP-Link, and it's a single router, and you're done. All right, don't install any apps, don't do any setup, the name and the password on the bottom of the router, and you're done. As far as the speeds, megabit is megabits per second, right? When you call the cable company, they say, we're going to give you 100 megabytes. It's because they don't have training. Megabit is a measurement of speed, and it's a unit of measurement. Get this, no human household can ever utilize more than about 20 or 25 megabit, so all the rest is superfluous. They've been cranking up the speeds in order to make you think you're getting something for the outrageous prices, okay? Another one from listener David. "Hey Mark, I bought a new Samsung Smart TV and I had it installed by the Geek Squad. And they told me that while I'm registered for 200 megabit with Spectrum, I'm only getting 40 megabit at the router. And he told me that's directly at the router where it should be the strongest. I have a D-Link router I got from you. Do I need a new router?" Okay. And D-Link, it's sad because D-Link was great, but I don't see them a lot anymore. And I just sold him a used router a long time ago, and it was totally fine. I don't sell used stuff anymore, but anyway. So I said, "That's funny, I just wrote an article about this. Turns out it's another humongous scam. No human household can ever use 20 or 25 megabit. So it doesn't matter. Anything more than that is superfluous." That's all I have. I have a senior citizens internet plan. I was grandfathered in, no pun intended, and I'm getting 25 megabit and it's fine. But the latest scam going around is computer scumbags telling people that they need 100, 200, 300, 400 megabit. I have 25 and it's more than I'll ever need. The real issue here is that you bought a Samsung television. I highly encourage you to return it immediately. They record everything you say in your house, and they send torpedo attacks called updates to the television to make it too slow to use after 2 years. If you end up keeping the TV, remind me to protect you by disconnecting the TV from the internet and then doing a real Roku, right? If you're infected with a Samsung TV or an LG TV, they're recording everything you do, and they're sending torpedo attacks to make it slower and slower every day because TVs are totally fine. So they have to damage them deliberately and artificially. All right, couple more. This is from foxnews.com. Twitter users left perplexed and post conspiracy theories after massive shift in followers. Something is happening. A noticeable shift in Twitter followers counts, as reported by many users over the last several days, has sent social media abuzz, with numerous theories on why some accounts are rapidly losing followers and some are gaining them, right? So if I'm an influencer and I happen to be on Twitter, now they call it X, then maybe I have 10,000 fans or 50,000 fans or whatever. But apparently this one day, all of a sudden, everyone's numbers went wild. ranging from reactionary account deletions and activations as a result of Elon Musk's purchase to malfeasance on the part of Twitter's algorithm engineers. Such theories have ignited a fierce online debate as users seem to have already experienced effects of the momentous news. So, Truth Social surges to number 1 in the App Store amid a wave of people on the right fleeing Twitter. But also, people are gaining tons of followers from people flooding back to Twitter. Something doesn't add up, said Tim Pool. I mean, in the engineer's defense, it could be that they just did some kind of weird algorithm, but still, it just shows you how garbage software is, right? Software is garbage, and all of a sudden you find out you didn't have that many followers, or you do have that many followers because they recalibrated their database and found out, right? Or it's possible that there's some kind of malfeasance or malice going on there, where they call it shadow banning, where technically the users aren't kicked off, but they're muted. They're muzzled. So there's that. Could be a lot of things. But yeah, that's interesting. What they're saying is, if all those people were fleeing Twitter, why did the numbers go up? So that's weird. All right, couple more. This is RT.com, and this is the Russian site. Facebook leak reveals new privacy concerns. The social media behemoth admits it can't keep track of the data it collects on users. Facebook has acknowledged that even its own privacy engineers struggle to understand how users' personal data is processed and stored in a recently leaked document. We've built systems with open borders, the document says, and it's like a bottle of ink. You pour that ink into a lake of water, in other words, our data system, and it just flows everywhere. And how do you put that ink back in a bottle? How do you organize it again? We can't confidently make controlled policy changes or external commitments, such as we will not use this kind of data for this kind of purpose. And yet, this is exactly what regulators expect us to do. It's supposed to sit at the center of Facebook's monetization strategy, the engine that powers Facebook's growth. Yet, the company's own employees clearly struggle to understand the basic concepts underpinning that strategy. Right? So the idea is, hey, we've got your phone number, we've got your mailing address or whatever. We can use it for certain purposes, right, to notify you of important things, but we can't use it for marketing purposes, something like that. The issue referred to as data lineage is at the core of the recent legal developments in multiple countries. So if Facebook collects a user's phone number for the purpose of securing the individual's account with the two-factor or something like that, it is illegal to feed it to the platform's People You May Know feature. All right, but guess what? Tech blog Gizmodo caught Facebook doing just that shortly after the law was passed. And the platform had to stop. This happened to me. I can attest to this, okay? So I'll meet people through Craigslist, right? If I sell some clutter on Craigslist, and I will put their number in my phone, all right? And that's fine. Actually, I don't have Facebook app installed on my phone because it's utter spyware and it records your voice throughout the day. But somehow, maybe through my Google account, I don't even know, or the other person, more likely if the other person puts my phone number into their phone and they're infected with the Facebook account app on their phone, then Facebook, all of a sudden, right, I'll go meet someone on Craigslist and sell them some clutter and I'll come home and we both have each other's phone numbers in our phones. All of a sudden on Facebook it comes up and it says People You May Know. And I'm thinking, holy crikey, I just met that person. How did they know that, right? I mean, I know Rochester's a small town and everyone knows everyone, but it doesn't say, hey, you have mutual friends in common. It just says, hey, you might know this person. And it's really spooky because I just met them and I have no contact with them on Facebook and we don't have mutual friends. So that's a little weird, but I can attest to Facebook utilizing my phone number for purposes other than notifications, okay? So that's a little crazy. As governments pass increasingly stringent regulations aimed at controlling speech on social media, the inability of Facebook employees to manage or even understand how their platforms handle data is becoming an increasingly serious issue, right? Again, we're trusting these jokers to control everything in the world, and they have no clue what they're doing, right? They aim to supplant government, and it is happening right before your eyes, all right? You have all these government people out there just making laws and spouting all this stuff out, but in reality, everything we do is entrusted to Silicon Valley and therefore controlled by them. The Facebook has a general idea of how many bits of data are stored in their data centers. Well, yeah, you just right-click and go to properties, and you can see how many gigs are on your hard drive. But where the data goes is, broadly speaking, a complete S show, the employees told Vice in an online interview, suggesting it gave Facebook legal cover. Now that's interesting. It gives them the excuse for keeping that much private data because at their scale and with their model and infrastructure, they can claim, hey, look, we don't even know what we have because we have so much data. So that's crazy. It's, hey, we have so much data that you have to excuse us here because we can't even manage it all. That's insane. How about stop taking all our data, folks? And remember, they're taking more than you realize. They're taking much more than you realize. They're taking your private direct messages inside of Facebook Messenger and using them against you. Privacy activist and senior fellow at the Irish Council for Civil Liberties, Johnny Ryan, told Motherboard that the document admits what we long suspected, that there is a data free-for-all inside of Facebook and the company has no control whatsoever over the data it holds. Okay. Last one here. I always like to end on a positive or funny note. This is Outkick.com, and this is May of 2022. Apple employees say that returning to the office is racist and sexist. Apple Inc. plans to ease workers back into the office with a flexible 3-day-a-week work schedule. And Apple employees said it's racist and sexist and neuronormative. So that's hilarious. They didn't give any reasons behind it, but it's like they probably figured, let's throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. So that's kind of funny, right? I don't want to do something, I'll just claim you're racist and sexist and neuronormative. Okay, that's it for now. Make sure you grab a preview edition of my book. It's currently on sale for $0. My new book is Don't Be Taken by Silicon Valley. It's not in print yet, but you can get the preview edition on a PDF, and you can get that at thecomputerexorcist.com. And I am very excited about this book, folks. It is really coming together. I completed the book. I'm proofreading it. I'm 10% done proofreading it. I got an illustrator who's crazy genius. The guy's incredible. So we're going to have some really funny illustrations in there to depict how preposterous my industry is. So thanks so much. Happy Easter and Passover, and we'll talk to you next time.